Hello, my name is Frank Christensen and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF in Europe. Welcome to this second game training tape of the 2020 season. Today we're looking at 3 different plays. The first one is not really the play, it's the measurement that follows the play, and we're going to talk about some philosophy and some mechanics on how and when to do measurements. Second play, we'll be looking at how and when to wave off a flag. So we'll look at the play and then we'll look at what the possible fouls are and why it's okay to wave them off, and we'll talk a little bit about the announcement following this play also. And then we'll finish off with a last play of the game. It's a kneel down, but it's a kneel down that has an illegal motion. So we'll talk about philosophy, mechanics, communication, also because there are some clock issues obviously at the end of the game. But enough talk, let's have a look at the game film. All right, so this first play here, we've got it's third and very short. But before we get to the actual play, let's just notice that the ball is nose on, and let's see what happens here on the. Bill, you had a comment on this line of scrimmage here.
Right. You know, centers do this all the time. They'll take and they'll move a ball forward like this. So they obviously, the key thing a wing official has to do is make sure you give some grace to that defense, because they're not responsible for being in the neutral zone at this point when the centers move the ball up.
Right.
Though you could have a situation down at the goal line where you don't want the center putting the ball in the end zone before a snap. But otherwise, that you don't want to call the center for basically for an illegal snap or moving the ball here, and you don't want to call the defense for being in the zone at this point here for this type of action.
Right. Good point. Okay, so moving on now, like we said, it's third and very short, and this formation certainly seems to indicate that there's a chance that they're going to try to muscle the ball up the middle. And like we typically say, if it's third and short or fourth and short, and they try to do that, you know, chances are we're going to want to measure afterwards. So let's see. Sure enough, quarterback sneak. And Einer, any pointers on getting a good progress spot here?
Well, sometimes you just have to pick the best one. But if you continue the tape, we can see that the line judge is a little bit too quick in making his mind up. First of all, maybe a little bit slow because he's not doing anything with the clock at this point. Well, then he comes in, if you continue rolling the tape, we see that he kills the clock, and then he gives a first down signal in front of his chest. And luckily, it's a discrete first down signal and not a big one.
And that's why we
really shouldn't have any first down signal at this point, because it's just too close.
Yeah.
So we would like the line judge to stop, because he's going to have to stay there, because he might have to get the ball and put the ball down himself. So we want him to stay in there and just communicate to especially the referee that we're close.
Also, on a play like this is exactly where the pre-snap routine should tell the wings that if they're going to do that, you better come in and sell your spot. I think the line judge here does a pretty good job, but I wouldn't have minded if he had come in like this was a goal line and you really need to sell this. You see the linesman at the top, he comes in with a little bit more speed. It just sells the play a little better, it sells the spot a little better, I think.
Well, here's a good example. I talked about the first down signal. This is a good example why you do not want wing officials, or really any officials, unless it's a change of possession, to give a big first down signal.
Yeah.
Just get in the habit to give the small one. That's all you need.
Yeah.
The only one you're telling is a first down is the referee, so you don't need a big signal. And if there's a mistake or there's something that invalidates the first down, you don't have the problem of now having to sort of go back on your signal.
Right.
So it's good that he gives a small signal, but in this case, perhaps he shouldn't have given any at all except to kill the clock.
Especially because it was tight.
Mm.
My next point, and Bill, chime in if you want, is I usually tell my wings that I'm not going to make the decision to measure. If you guys want to measure, we're going to measure. I don't want to come up and steal your thunder and decide all of a sudden just because I have a white cap whether this is a first down or not. So you notice here, I never look at the chain here. They tell me to measure, we're going to measure.
Yeah, and one of the things is, and it looks like you're using the front edge of a line, which 99% of the time is going to help you eliminate measurements.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you're going to get one that's close like this. And we kind of have just an in-crew kind of humor thing over it, saying kind of the same thing. Hey, if you don't want me to measure this, then when you come in and give that spot, you either put it down so that we've got a first down without any compromise, or we've got it short. You know, and it doesn't have to be by a lot, but let's not put it in no man's land. You know, and again, this is a tough play. Bodies all over the place. You give it the best spot you can, but be aware of your line to gain. And if you want me to measure it, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, give me a spot that's a first down, or give me a spot that's short. End of discussion.
So right now we're talking about what is it going to be if it's short. So we're measuring for first or fourth. I just talked to the line judge about that. I'm also going to talk to the umpire. And right there you notice that I walk around the back judge. I don't want to be standing with my back to everybody once the chain is in.
Well, the other point too is you don't want to be stepping over a chain either.
No.
You know, they bring them in. I want to be out of the way of the chains, period. So one, I don't trip or mess something up. We might hit the ball. So you know, good to find a place to be that's just kind of a neutral zone.
And good job by several officials here to keep the players away. And the only thing I would say for the back judge is we do want him on the defensive side of the ball. He could probably be half a foot further back and just reach his arm out a little bit. That would get him a little bit further out of the way of coaches and players on the sideline.
You know, even that guy from the chain crew, I'd like to be out of the way there a little bit.
Yeah.
From the standpoint that, you know, one coach is going to be pleased with this measurement, and one of them is going to wish the spot was different. So I want both coaches to see what's going on here. You know, and if you have a game on TV, I want that shot from TV to show what we're doing too.
Yeah.
So I don't care about the players leaning over, but back judge back a little bit.
Yeah.
Give those two coaches a shot at what you're doing.
And we talked about this being short. That's how short it was. It was like, I don't know, 2 millimeters maybe.
2 millimeters short. You just gave a first down signal.
2 millimeters over. Once my card touched the ball, there was maybe one or two of those little rubber pebbly things beyond the chain. It was close. It was so close. I couldn't even tell.
When I made a comment about Frank pulling out his card to do this measurement, you know, you could do that.
You can get one of these per career, I think. Not too many of these, but one is all right.
I think this is my second time ever.
Oh, okay.
Just personally, I don't advocate that you do a measurement with a card. Your eyes are good enough. The chains are right there. First down, not a first down, and we're moving on with life.
It's probably a first down in that case.
Yeah. But, you know, interesting enough, because what happened once I did it, at least 3 or 4 of the defenders could see that my card actually touched the ball. So it certainly convinced them. But,
Except 93, who pointed the other way, but I'll take your word for it, Greg.
He was confused. But and then the last part of this is the umpire here. He does a good job of, dusting the ball off, and then when we put it back down, all of a sudden it's nose on.
Whoa, I think they gained another 6 inches on that puppy after he put it down. So we got a first down for sure.
But the point being that whenever we can, we want to put the ball nose on, even after a measurement like this. If we can, that's going to help us 10 yards further down the field if we need to measure again, especially in the middle of the field. All right, anything else before we move on to play number 2? All right. All right, on to play number 2. We've got not really the play itself as much as the communication afterwards. I did want to mention, what happens right after the snap will give us an indication of what's going to happen or what's not going to happen on the play. So, right now the running back is going to the other side and the quarterback is very confused. So if one of you guys were back there at referee, what would that tell you guys?
No, maybe my quarterback's in trouble.
Exactly.
Panic time.
Right, panic time. Now he's scrambling. Now he's trying to make something out of nothing. And typically that tells us anything can happen. And on this play, anything does. So for him, nothing too much happens. He just tries to scramble. He can't get out of it, so he throws the ball away. Now, as a referee, I see him throw the ball. I also see 14 is down there with him, so my eyes stay with the quarterback. So I don't really, I know he's out of the pocket. I don't really know what happened to the pass. And then, of course, the linesman has a flag down. So what are we thinking right now?
Well, there's a couple things you could have. You could potentially, for the wing officials or the umpire, you could have ineligibles downfield.
Yeah.
You could have potential blocking downfield.
Yeah.
So the communication here of him telling you what he has, and then you communicating what you have.
Yeah.
That's a way to put the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to get the result of the play thing out of the way pretty quickly. Because I don't know if I'm the referee on this play. I don't necessarily know, at least. So don't assume if you're the wing official that I know. So let me know what happened.
Let me put you on the spot then as the linesman on this play. All right, so you have the inside or the middle receiver as your initial key on this trips. Do you necessarily see what's going on in the backfield?
Not necessarily, no.
Your wing is not really threatened, so you could potentially see that this play is foobarred at this point.
I think sometimes you can get a good feel for it just out of your periphery, but yeah.
So my point is in a perfect world, is this flag a little fast? Is this a little too much Lucky Luke on this flag?
I think the wing official, at least when you watch his body language and where he's looking, he's got an idea, even though he's not responsible for the quarterback being outside the tackle box. He's coming at him, and he's preparing for that.
Yeah.
He knows he's outside the box. He knows he just threw a pass that just barely got over the sideline over here. He also has a responsibility to know about eligible receivers in the area or a pass that crossed the line of scrimmage or not. So those are all things. So I'm sure as soon as it was mentioned to him that we're not going to go with grounding because of the pass crossing the line, that those other things about ineligibles or blocking downfield started to make sense to him. So it's a little quick on the flag.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted Einer's input on that, and yours is valid too, is I'm in that huddle. So the first thing that comes out of the linesman's mouth is, well, he threw the ball away, right? So now we're going into, okay, which fouls can we disregard because he threw the ball away? out of bounds. So I start by asking, well, okay, let's take them in sequence. The ball did cross the line of scrimmage, right? Yes. Okay, so we have no grounding. Ineligible downfield, we can disregard that because he threw the ball away out of bounds. Yes. OPI, we can disregard that because he threw the ball out of bounds. And the pass interference did not prevent an interception. And we all agreed on that too. So the whole discussion here is just on which fouls can we disregard. And then we ended up with no fouls left.
And all those fouls that you mentioned now can be disregarded either by rule or by philosophy.
Yeah.
So it's all documented that this is what this is the outcome that we want.
Yeah.
Now, if that pass lands inbounds, now we have a whole different situation.
Now it's a different story. Yeah.
But
If it gets real close to the sideline, it probably went out of bounds.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I just
The only situation is if the blocking downfield, if the OPI could have prevented an interception, even though it was thrown away. Yeah. And
You can see the linesman had a feeling about it because the quarterback does sort of push him. He does leave the line because of the quarterback coming out towards him, and perhaps he should have been, perhaps he should have held the line. It doesn't really matter that much in this play, but so he probably, just like you said, Frank, he probably had a feel
he did.
about what was going on, and that's why he opened your discussion that way.
And
now you also have the interesting scenario. Now you're picking up a flag. So what's your announcement?
yes, my announcement, I was very I made sure to say there's no foul for an eligible downfield because the quarterback threw the ball out of bounds. So that I mentioned what the flag was for, and I mentioned why it wasn't a foul after all.
Was the linesman's call ineligible, or was it OPI?
It was actually,
Or did he?
in the penalty report we had it as an OPI.
Yeah.
So my announcement, but we were talking about all three, and I just picked one. And then
I think that's a
afterwards
good pick of the one.
That's why I picked it. But we actually didn't talk about what his flag specifically was for, because we talked about all three fouls, potentially.
It's a good play to make an announcement on for you're educating people at the game. If it's on TV, you're educating announcers and other people there. So it's a good play that and good use of a microphone to explain a play. And obviously, then the officials, they have to be able to use that same information to explain it to the coach.
Anytime I can do that, I prefer to do that instead of just saying there was no foul on the play, which it doesn't help our credibility. But if you can explain what happened, then you look better.
I guess you could announce there's no foul for an eligible receiver downfield or offensive pass interference because blah blah blah. You could get both. You could get all of it in there without it being too worded.
I don't want to get too lengthy either. That's good point. Just make sure that.
Because I think that perhaps the OPI was the more visible potential foul on this play.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. One last thing, if we have time here, is just since you mentioned it, Einar, the linesman's movement there when the runner is coming towards him, and the runner is a quarterback who might throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And normally when the runner comes towards you, you obviously want to go into the opposite backfield because he's going to want to run. You want to get in a trailing position to cover the run and the sideline and maybe have a glance at the blocks in front pretty soon, and that gives you a better position. But when the quarterback comes out like that, this is not always easy as the wing. If he decides to tuck it in and run, now you're in a bad position. Just like if it's a runner, a running back. So I try to hold longer with a quarterback than with a running back. because I'm responsible for that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's yeah.
Don't be shy either about, I mean, these guys are 2 yards back with the chains in the box. Don't be shy about even having them work deeper than that. We're seeing a lot more chains being a lot further back off the sideline than 2 yards.
That's a good point. All right, let's move on to the last play, which is really interesting. All right, last play here, and we just need to set the stage here, right? Because the defense, or this not the defense, the away team, the white team here is up 14-7, and there are about 45 seconds left in the game, so they are going to take a knee. Niner, you had a comment on this.
Yeah, the first thing you need to think about when somebody takes a knee, what we don't want to do is to prevent the defense from playing, because sometimes you hear officials sort of go into automatic mode. Oh, the offense is taking a knee, I'm going to tell a defense to take it easy, or don't get involved in telling the defense really anything. I think if there's a score or less between the teams, you got to let the defense play. The game is not over.
Which we have here, 14-7.
You can't get involved in telling the defense how to play, that you can't play during the next play.
Right.
That's just, you can't do that.
Right.
If this is a bad snap, and the ball is rolling around on the ground, and now you've said to the defense, don't play, you're putting them in a situation where potentially they're going to get the ball and have a shot at winning, but now you told them not to play, so you've taken away that opportunity. You can't do that.
Right.
Yeah, and it's the other point on it too is that it's too often that the offensive line takes the play off. They expect, well, nobody's going to do anything to my quarterback, etc., or let the officials protect my quarterback. It's those players on that offensive line. They need to play another down, and they need to protect their quarterback.
So as the referee, you're going to have a strong, powerful, crisp, clear whistle as soon as that ball becomes dead, not before. And if there's a late hit, you're going to penalize them. You're not going to stop a team from playing when there's, the game is actually not decided.
All right. So, and that decision, which of course I agree with, impacts the crew, because as we can see, we've got the side judge coming in here as a double umpire on a scrimmage play, which we really don't need or don't want. So if we're telling the teams this is a normal play, we need to officiate it as a normal play. So he should be in his normal position. All right, so then the snap goes. We've got a normal play, except the running back is moving forward at the snap. It's not a false start like we talked about, so this is correctly called, right, Bill, as an illegal motion.
Yeah, I think you have to call it. You wish you could have a play and not have a flag on it, but this is just too out in the open and obvious. It's not a false start. It's illegal motion, but it's just there. You've got to call it. If you don't, and it's going to lead to the ramification for the defense to make the choice about the game clock. Again, we got a one-score game, so they get the option to say, hey, we want the next play to be on the snap, because we get one more shot at trying to get the ball.
Yeah, and that was the a big part of the conversation we had there. I mean, first thing I said to the linesman is, really, a flag now? If you got something, you have to call it. And then we went into the clock situation conversation. First thing was, okay, we're under a minute. Is this a SAP 10 situation? Do we have a 10-second runoff possibility here? Which we don't, because the clock didn't stop because of the foul, or the foul didn't stop the clock. We stopped the clock after the play because of the foul, but it wasn't like an illegal forward pass or something like that, where the foul actually stops the clock right away.
Which a false start could have
Yes, had it been a false
could have
start
done. So
or a
it's
late
an important.
hit after the play, or,
It's a legal motion false start. So what? But no, there's
right now it's very
that's actually quite an important distinction.
yeah. And then we moved on to the one that you mentioned, Bill, is inside the 2 minutes, the team behind, or if it's tied, but in this case the team behind can choose to have the clock started on the snap, even though it by normal rules would start on the ready. And once we realized that we had that option, that's why I go into a prelim. And then,
Right.
and
They
then
may not have committed this foul, and I don't think they committed the foul to gain a clock advantage.
No.
However, you want to prevent a team from fouling to gain
that's-
clock
that's the
advantage.
rule.
So that's the whole purpose of that rule.
Yeah. And then we spent about 3 seconds trying to get to a captain. I'm not sure a captain was out there, and we were all the way down to the 5-yard line or something. I just decided, no, let's just go. I'll just go to the coach, since at that point, which we probably should have, but we didn't have an official with the coach. You know, as soon as we
Wing
get
official on
communication.
that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would have liked to have the wing official on that sideline getting to the coach and advising him, saying, "Coach, your option here is they're going to have to they're going to have to run another play. You can decide this one to go on the snap."
I think you're just delaying getting the answer if you
Yeah.
talk to the captain. And that applies especially with when there's a question of timing, but I think it applies to pretty much every single situation where you have a flag without any, whatever the situation is. Just talk to the coach directly.
Yeah, and we were on the radio to let everybody know what was going on, and we needed options, and okay, so we need to ask the home team, but for whatever reason, we didn't manage to get a wing official to the coach, so I just decided to run to him. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but something to the effect of, we've got an illegal motion on the offense. You have a choice to have the game clock started on the snap or on the ready. What do you want? And he said on the ready. For whatever reason, he decided that it wasn't worth it, so I just went out, illegal motion, offense, 5-yard penalty. The defense has elected to start the clock on the ready for play.
And that's a good point, Frank, that the coach made the choice to throw in the towel, basically. Where us as officials, it's not our position to throw in the towel and take the play off.
No.
If something obvious happens, we have to make the call.
Yeah.
But we don't get to throw the towel in and say it's over. So we have to be there for it. So, but that's his choice. He chose to do it. It's an unusual decision, I think, but he made the decision. He's got nobody to answer but himself.
So we ended up winding the clock, and I told the quarterback, you don't have to snap it, and then the game was over. So we had a foul, and then the game ended on that, which was kind of unusual and a shame for a tight and really good game to end like that. But that's just the way it is.
I'll just quick ask you a question on it, Frank. How was the mood of the game? Was it behavior-wise? Was it a good, clean, hard-fought game, or was it chippy?
It was at times it was a little chippy. We had the measurement, which helped us calm everybody down. We had a couple of injury timeouts, which also helped calm everybody down. But there was some talking. There was some jawing going on. I think we had. I had a disqualification for kicking an opponent. I think we had one other unsportsmanlike conduct in the game, but at the end there, with 2 minutes left or so, the offense went for it on fourth down, or the home team went for it on fourth down on their own 30 and didn't get it, and then the white team ran off a couple of first downs and ran off the clock. So at the end, it kind of fizzled out a little bit in terms of tension. But all through the game, it was really tight and really close, and a good game to officiate.
Very good.
It was just, I felt bad that we had it ended like that, but sometimes you can't help it.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, guys, before we call it a day with this training tape?
Nope.
No, I think that
Good
was it.
time.
All right. Thank you, guys.